welcome to episode number 5 of the road trip to nowhere. Today I am 30 miles outside of Alamogordo, New Mexico, which is the closest city to White Sands National Park, which is what brought me to this area. I've been here now for 3 nights. This will be my 3rd real day here. The first night that I got here in like the middle of the night. But this spot is awesome. As you can see, I am in the middle of this incredible just red sand desert type area, which is prime for all sorts of off-roading. Like I said, I've been in this area for a couple of days now. However, I spent the first 2 full days being here actually editing photos and editing videos to make sure that I get content up to you guys. So I haven't really done a great job of exploring this area just yet. However, I did make it to White Sands National Park last night very briefly to do some photography. I went there, and to be honest, I was so excited for White Sands National Park because it was going to be my first time kind of being in true sand dunes, and I was really excited, and I was really let down, to be honest with you, by that park, primarily because it seemed like pretty much every footprint that has been left in those sand dunes for like the past 6 months was completely visible. So it made it really, really difficult to get any like clean photos of just a clean sand dune. I did, however, manage to get this one photo of myself kind of walking on literally the one clean sand dune that I was able to find. I walked like a mile out into the middle of nowhere, off all the trails, into just a barren wasteland of sand dunes, and I found one sand dune where if I shot it at a particular angle, I could actually get a photo where you don't see anybody's footsteps. So pretty pumped about this photo. I'm really happy, and to be honest, I think I'm good on White Sands National Park. I don't need to go back. However, I am really interested in doing a little bit of off-roading in this area. Before I head out, the first thing I'm going to do is air down my tires a little bit. Reason for this is twofold. Anybody that does any off-roading is going to say that this is obvious, but I know that a lot of photography people follow the channel. But the reason for doing this is, one, it's going to give me a little bit more traction in the deep sand. So if the sand gets a little bit deeper, my tires, if they're a little bit flatter, it'll give me more traction so that I won't get stuck. And the second reason is if I hit any like sharp rocky patches or anything like that, the lower tire pressure my tires are, the less likely it's going to be for me to get a flat tire. So one of my absolute favorite people on Instagram is this guy that goes by the name Photorunner. And what he does really, really well is he takes photos of his off-road vehicles. He builds out awesome off-road vehicles, and then he photographs them doing their thing. And so I take a lot of inspiration from him. And what I'm trying to kind of do right now is not recreate his work, obviously, but I'm going to try to take a couple of photos sort of inspired by this guy, Photorunner. I'll show a couple of his photos on the screen so you can get an idea what I'm talking about. But hold on 1 second, dirt bike's coming. So the lens that I'm using for all of these photos is the Canon 135mm f2 lens. And I'm also using a circular polarizer on the front of it to take the glare off the paint on my truck. I absolutely love this lens, and there's a couple reasons why I went with that instead of a 70-200. And the first one is that it's much lighter, and the second one is that it's a stop faster. So in layman's terms, it means that it's better in low light, and it is going to make your background even more blurry than a Canon 70-200 would at the same focal length. I also found that when I shot on a 70-200mm lens, I would almost always shoot right around the middle of the zoom range. So the 135mm just made complete sense for me instead of getting a 70-200. Love this lens, and I love the way that those images look. As much as I would love to just wheel around the New Mexico desert all day in this thing, I do have to be a semi-responsible adult today. So today marks the official 12th day of me being on the road full time, and it also marks the official day where I have run out of clean clothes to wear. So one of the things I need to get done today is go into town and find myself a laundromat to do some laundry. Before we do that though, I figured I would give you a little bit of an update because it's almost been 2 weeks on just kind of what it's been like living in this trailer and in this truck for the past 12 days, almost 2 weeks. So one of the things that I've certainly realized is that living basically outside is not super easy. I mean, it makes everything extremely inconvenient. I think that if I wasn't trying to be like a highly productive individual and make these videos and edit these videos and edit photos and get things done, it would be a lot easier. But having to be really productive at the same time as basically living outside is really challenging. I mean, for example, say I want to edit a video or put together a video. I don't have any internet signal most of the time when I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and I also don't have any electricity. And so I'm relying 100% on my mobile hotspot, which has almost, it doesn't really work if I'm being completely honest, depending on where I am. And I'm also relying on a solar panel and the energy from the sun in order to get electricity to my computer. And so in order to get anything done, I need to deploy my solar panel, my battery, plug everything into it, get everything unpacked from my truck, plug it all in, try not to get sand in all of my electronics and ruin it. And it's just all really inconvenient. I'm gonna make a full video shortly on like a full update in terms of what it's been like living out of this tiny trailer for the past couple of weeks, and I'll get into detail on all of these different things, but I just had to get that out into the world because some of the things that I have to do on a daily basis, particularly making videos with no internet and no electricity, man, it's tough. As you can tell, we are getting packed up and ready to leave this spot, which is a huge bummer because honestly, this has without a doubt been my favorite campsite that I've stayed at so far this trip. It has the right mix of seclusion, but also proximity to civilization and cool stuff, and also just the ability to do fun stuff right around the campsite, like the off-roading that I was doing earlier today. The problem right now with the site, and the reason I'm moving on, is because I checked the weather forecast, and it looks like over the next 2 days the weather is going to increasingly get colder and colder and colder, to the point where it's going to be like 10 degrees at night. And sleeping in this thing in 10-degree weather it's feasible, it's certainly doable, but it is not comfortable. And waking up in the morning when it's 10-15 degrees outside and trying to get motivated to get outside, it is, I don't want to do it. The next location that I'm moving on to is just outside of Tucson, Arizona, which is going to be a hell of a lot warmer than it is right here. Super excited for it. It's going to be like 70 degrees every single day. The campsite that I'm staying at looks like it's going to be good. I'm never entirely positive until I get there. And I'm also going to be able to see Saguaro National Park, which I'm really excited about as well. And I just watched the clip of me talking a minute ago, and I figured I should address what's on my thumb. I cut my thumb earlier. It's not a big deal or anything. I just didn't have any medical tape, so I used some Gorilla Tape that I had in my truck. So that's why I have this mangled looking thumb right now. But yeah, super excited for tomorrow. Moving on to Tucson, Arizona, and it's going to be a hell of a lot warmer than it is here, which is exciting in and of itself. Anyways, guys, thank you for all of the support so far. I really appreciate everybody who's following along in this journey and is commenting on and liking the videos. I really appreciate all of that, and it helps the channel out a ton. Thank you guys, as always, and I'll plan to see you in 2 days in the next episode. Peace.